Hello and welcome to our April PTC ISV Spotlight. I'm Michael Gummel from Paradigm Technology Consulting. And this month we have with us Tom Nielsen from Liaison Software. Liaison has been in the Microsoft channel for many, many years. If you've ever attended a convergence back in the day or a user group summit, Tom and his partner can always be seen wearing their baseball jerseys. We just won't mention which teams though. Liaison has a number of products, but they are probably best known as the form and reports distribution guys. They've expanded the breadth of their solutions over the years. And so to tell you more about them, let me introduce Tom from Liaison. Take it away, Tom.
Thank you, Michael. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for attending. Again, it's Tom Nielsen with Liaison Software. We're going to be showing you our Messenger EDD product today. Pulling up my screen right now.
And you can go ahead and share your screen there.
Yeah, I think it should be up.
Okay, great.
Messenger EDD focuses on business form and report distribution. So some of the key features we're going to cover here are batch emailing. I'll touch upon faxing. We still come across it every now and then. Built-in archiving of documents, and customers love Messenger for the ability to attach supporting documentation to outbound documents. What we're looking at right here on the screen is the Messenger print server. So keep in mind, as I go through the demo, pretty much the whole demo will be talking about the Messenger server. This just runs in the background or runs as a service, and just the admin person would have access to this. So keep that in mind, that the end users will never go into the Messenger print server. Before we get to that, I'm just going to pull up a quick PowerPoint slide and give you a minute training session from an end user perspective. So the end user is the person that, creates invoices, statements, purchase orders, runs management reporter reports. That individual has two responsibilities when it comes to Messenger. One is that they print through their existing print procedure. So that's in GP or whatever ERP package Messenger is being used with. Messenger relies upon the existing print procedure in that ERP package. The other responsibility the end user has is they update email addresses on the customer record in GP. We pull that email address through an ODBC connection. I'll show you the field our standard field that we pull from, but we could easily map to any field on the customer record or vendor record, employee, sales. We could pull any field off of that record. For the sake of the demo, I'm going to focus on the customer as the recipient. But again, we could send documents to vendors like purchase orders or EFT remittances, send copies to salespeople, shipping documents to warehouses, even direct deposit statements to employees. And we could password protect those documents and really password protect any of the documents that we create. The last bullet here is related to the preference or the method of distribution. And these days, that's typically either email or print. So instead of managing the preference, we have a hierarchy that you could set up in Messenger. So let's say you set the hierarchy to email print. That means it looks for an email address first. If it finds it, it emails out the document. If it does not find an email address, then it prints it to an assigned printer. So if you're processing a batch of, say, 100 invoices, hopefully they all email. But let's say 95 were emailed, and the remaining 5 were only printed because there was no email address for those customers. So again, from an end user perspective, the end user just prints through the existing print procedure, but uses our print driver, and they update email addresses on the customer record when they need to. Everything else we're going to be showing you here is at the Messenger server and is all part of the initial setup of Messenger. Now, Messenger EDD is installed on either a workstation that you treat like a server box, or in a hosted environment. These are your different emailing options over here. Now, just a little bit of background. We have over 1,500 customers that have run Messenger over the past 23 years. By far, the majority of them use one Outlook email client. Now, these days, most new sales customers use Office 365. So keep in mind too that Messenger EDD is compatible with TLS 1.2 and modern authentication. So if you are on older versions of Dynamics GP that are having emailing issues, Messenger can support that on the older versions. Here's my 10 seconds on faxing. So we do link with a number of faxing solutions, but today the most common faxing option is this top one, Internet Fax Service. This is where you set up an account with a company like eFax, MyFax, GoToFax, and Messenger emails the fax to that third party and they fax it out. Okay, let's jump over to the Task Manager. Now, something to keep in mind, I'm on Fabricam here, but Messenger can be used with multiple, and you can have rules set up for multiple databases. And when you set up the first database, we could easily clone those settings for the additional databases so you're not starting from scratch. From there, you update email text, archive folder locations, or printers that you're printing to. Now, the fun part is on this drop-down list. These are your scripts. And as you can see, the scripts are mainly built around business form distribution. I have a script down here for distributing a crystal report where it's scheduled to run and distribute. It could be management reporter reports or reports coming out of other third-party or custom solutions. I'm going to focus on two scripts, this invoice script and the statement script. So here I have a 9-line script set up. So these are the rules or actions that are going to take place when you print with the print driver, which you'll see me do in a couple of minutes. Now for this script, this is the one script I will kick off. What's happening here, and these are just examples of the features. Line number 1 is an accounting copy. So this copy here is going to print to that HP 8020 printer if you need a hard copy printed in-house for internal use. Okay, now line 2 is an example of a static attachment. I'm going to open this one up here. And remember, this is all initial setup that we're showing. End users never go into this. For line number 2, what's happening here is we pointed to a PDF. This is a 2-page marketing brochure that I'm going to append to the invoice. This static attachment feature is commonly used on purchase orders, where you attach terms and conditions to the purchase order. Line number 3 in the script is the variable attachment line. Customers love this feature. What's happening here is we're pointing to a folder of detailed information. So I'm going to pull up the folder. And these happen to be Excel files. They're usually PDFs, but here we're going to grab an Excel file. And to do that, we're going to use data off of the invoice to go back and retrieve the document. I'll be using the invoice number off of the invoice, and then that invoice number is part of the naming convention of the Excel file that we're going to retrieve, this detailed information. I'll then embed that into the PDF. Then we'll send that to the customer on line number 4. I'm also going to archive a copy to a folder. And we'll use data off of the invoice to name the PDF that's not only emailed out, but also archived. I'm also going to run a recap report. The recap report is showing you what was emailed or faxed out. I'm going to email that to myself and archive it to a folder. We could be sending a copy to a salesperson. So this line, which I have shut off, would be pulling the salesperson ID number off of the invoice, going back into GP through an ODBC connection to pull the email address from the salesperson record and emailing it out. Now, line number 9, there's a lot you could do with this. I'm going to open this one up. The task is simply to email to the constant email address here. I'm emailing the controller. But line number 9 is only triggered based on a filtered criteria set up here. So in this example, we're saying if the total amount of the invoice is greater than $10,000, that's when we would trigger line number 9. Any data that we're capturing off of the report can be used to filter off of. Okay, now we simply had the task there of emailing. We could have been printing, archiving. We could also have been running an executable here or a PowerShell script. And we could pass data off to those other tasks through arguments. You're pulling the data from the report and passing it off as arguments to those methods. So that's the script that I'm going to kick off in a minute. Now, this script is linked to your existing report. It requires the use of your existing report. So in the GP world, that's typically the GP report writer report. We have plenty of clients that use Messenger with Word templates in GP. Most people move away from the Word templates and they go back to the GP report writer report. But we have plenty of clients that use those. It could work with an SSRS report or a Crystal report. Now, as an example, I'm going to pull up a Crystal report. Okay, I could be looking at the GP report writer report right now. Now, what we would do with either with someone from your team or Michael's team is we would work with you on adding these hidden fields into your existing report. We call these data identifier tokens. They're really just formula fields or calculated fields depending on the report writer. But based on what's happening in the script in the background will help us determine the tokens that go in the report. So if we're routing to the customer, we need to capture the customer ID number off of the report so we can go back into GP through that ODBC connection and pull the email address. If we were archiving the invoice, we're going to use, or emailing it out, we're going to use the invoice number as part of the naming convention of those two files. Same with routing a copy to a salesperson. We'd create our hidden field, our token off of that salesperson ID number field. If you look on the right-hand side, you can see our tokens over here. They start with _EDD. I just opened one up. So here's an example of a token. And in the center of this string is the invoice number field for this report. So we would work with, again, someone from Michael's team or someone from your team on adding the hidden fields in. They're about 2 to 3 point in size, usually in the header area, and we make the font color white so they're not viewable on the document. Okay, so let's minimize that and let's go back here and run an invoice now. So this is the script that I'm going to kick off, this invoice script. I'm going to turn the server on, so that green light is on. I'm going to pull up my archive folder in the top left because we're going to add 2 records in here. We're going to also pull a file. We're going to retrieve a file from this folder. This is the detailed information from another system. And I'm going to also open up Outlook here and go to my sent box and drag this down here. Now I'm going to go into Dynamics GP and I'm going to go into 2 customer records. Now this is 50% of what the end user does, is you update your email address fields in GP when you need to do so. I'm going to click the internet address button. Now this here is the standard field that we pull the email address from. We could easily map to any field on the customer record to access that email address. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to add Michael's email address into here, so bear with me a second. Okay, MTGU. I believe I got that right. Michael, please correct me if that's not correct.
Yes, you are correct there.
Okay, so here I'm going to just copy this, save it on this record, and when I send out a statement, I send it from this other customer. So I'm going to paste the information here and save. Okay, I'll minimize that. I'm going back into Dynamics GP now, and I'm going to print an invoice. So this is the other 50% of what the end user does, is they go through the standard print routine in Dynamics GP or whatever they're printing from. Here, I'm just selecting one invoice right now. This could be a whole batch of invoices. Okay, so this is all Dynamics GP still. And now you could see the print driver. So we're defaulted to the Messenger print driver. When I hit that the print button down in the bottom center, Messenger, the print driver, is going to create a PDF of the print stream and send it to our Q1 folder that's in the background. I don't have that open. Once I hit print and once that PDF hits the Q1 folder, Messenger brings the PDF in and you'll see that green light flash to yellow, and then it will start processing the script. Now this script, because I have the recap report scheduled within the script. It's going to take about 7 to 8 seconds to process. You'll really see how quick it is when I generate this statement. Normally, that recap report is scheduled to run weekly or monthly and not within a script like I'm showing it. Okay, watch the green light. I'm going to hit print now. Okay, Messenger is processing. The end user is done at this point. All the end user is going to do is pull any printed copies off the printer if there are any. Okay, so, and they're not seeing all this happen. This is all happening on the other machine. You could see that the emails have been sent. The green light's back. The email has been sent to Michael. There's the recap report that I emailed. Over here in the archive folder is the recap report, and the invoice has also been archived. So let's pull up the recap report. This is showing you what was emailed out through Messenger. So we had the recap report that was emailed to me, and then we had the 2 email addresses that we sent the invoice to. Also the date and time that it was processed. Now let's go to the email that was sent out. If you look here, I opened up the email. On the subject line of the email and in the email body, you could see we've taken the invoice number from the report and we've placed it in both areas to make the email more personable. Any data that's captured off of the report can be used like this. I'm going to open up the PDF now. So here we have our PDF that we processed. This, again, it's using your existing reports. And remember, there were 2 things that we did. We attached a static attachment and a variable attachment. So for the static attachment, you could see that this is a 3-page PDF. Page 1 is the invoice, page 2 and page 3 is the brochure that we attached. For the variable attachment, we took the invoice number off of the report, but not from that field. Here are our hidden fields, our tokens. One of those tokens is based on that invoice number field. So we use that data to go into this folder and look for a file that contains the invoice number as part of the name. Here it is. And then we merged it into the PDF. So now I could open that up from there. There's Excel, and there's the detailed information. Now, I believe normally people, instead of merging the Excel file into the PDF, obviously if it was a PDF that we retrieved, we would most likely merge it into the existing PDF. But I think if it's like an Excel file, Messenger could be set up to attach a separate attachment in the email versus merging it together. Okay, so let's close that and we'll show you one more feature here, and that's related to the statement and the variable attachment feature. And customers buy this feature, buy Messenger specifically for this feature. Okay, if you remember on the invoice script, we archive the invoice to a folder here. There's the invoice. Now on the statement script, line number 2 is the variable attachment feature again. So what this is doing is it's pointing to that folder. Here's the folder that I have open, and it's first grabbing all the invoice numbers off of the statement, going into that folder and retrieving copies of those invoices, and then merging them together with the statement. This line is pulling from that other folder where I have detailed information related to those invoices. We're going to grab that and merge that together. Then I'll send this to myself and to Michael in the customer copy, and then I'll archive it in the folder also. So let's run that script. The Messenger server is turned on. I'm going to pull up Outlook again. Drag this over here. And I'm going to go back into GP, and I'm going to print statements now. So remember, you're just printing through your existing print procedure, whatever you're going to run through Messenger. Here I have one customer selected for the statement. You could have selected every customer that's over, say, 45 days. Whatever your selection criteria is in GP, you just continue with that process. The only change is that you print with our print driver. There it is. When I hit print, that green light's going to flash a lot quicker this time, take about a second to process, and it will archive to the folder and send a second email to Michael and myself. Okay, I'm going to hit print now. Okay, Messenger is processed and done. It flashed to yellow for a split second, and now it's back to green looking for more PDFs to process. There is the archive copy in the folder, And there is the second email that we've sent out.
Glad I was quick.
Yeah. Here's the PDF that was created. I'm opening that up. And if you look, what we did here is we took the data from these fields, the invoice numbers, but not directly from that field. If I highlight this text, all that data, you could see under the description column, we have our tokens hidden in there. Okay, so we use that data to go into the folder and retrieve the copies of the invoices. Here they are. Okay, and then we merge them together. So this is a 4-page PDF. Page 1 is the statement. Page 2, 3, and 4 are those supporting invoices. Now this invoice, 2226, had a supporting document in this other folder. So we grabbed that and then we merged it together with the PDF. So I could then open that up. There's the detailed information. And again, we didn't have to merge it into the PDF. It could have been attached as a separate attachment in the email. Okay, so I'm going to summarize now real quick. Let me just close some of my windows here. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint slide. Okay, some of the key features that we covered here, the variable attachment feature. As I mentioned, a lot of clients buy Messenger specifically for this feature. We attach the invoices to the statement in one PDF. We have customers that attach customer POs. If any of you use Key to Act or Wensoft, we have many clients that use Messenger to attach call summary reports to invoices, timesheet, certificate of analysis, and that could be pulling the item number and lot number off of the invoice and using that data to pull the proper C of A. We've also attached a static attachment. I attached the marketing document to the invoice. It could be terms and conditions to a purchase order. Features related to emailing. Messenger is compatible with TLS 1.2 and modern authentication and works with any version of Dynamics GP. We have centralized emailing. So all of the emailing is taking place from the Messenger server versus GP emailing. It's all happening at each individual workstation. So that gives you a history record in one location versus each workstation. You also have your distribution history in the recap report that I showed you. We could email to multiple email addresses. If you're using Office 365 or SMTP, we could actually use a unique email address for each document. So purchase orders come from one email address while invoices come from another. Customers love this last bullet on the left. So what's happening here is, let's say you have a batch of 100 invoices and 10 invoices are for one customer. Messenger could be configured to send out one email with one attachment, and in that one attachment are the 10 invoices. Now, for another customer, maybe they need to feed a document management system and they need to have one invoice per email. You could actually control that at the customer level. And then on the right side here, remember, we're using all the data that we're capturing off of the report through those hidden fields can be used to name the PDFs that are emailed out and that are archived. We could easily print to user-specific printers. I have a customer recently that had a warehouse that had 4 zones in it, and each zone had its own printer. So the reseller, the VAR, took the customer's pick ticket and they sorted the items on the pick ticket by zone and had a page break after every section, every zone section. So we were able to take that one PDF and burst it into individual PDFs and then print to the appropriate printer, the appropriate zone. We could route copies to salespeople, as I mentioned, shipping documents to warehouses, and it's all triggered through the initial print selection in GP. If you run project accounting or AR invoices, Messenger works with every module of GP that actually prints a report, and also works with, we have about 7 or 8 different ISV packages, other solutions that we've worked with Messenger, and even custom solutions. That's the beauty of it, is that we just work with the print stream, so it really works with anything. There's no end user training. Everything that we've shown you on the demo was all initial configuration. That initial PowerPoint slide that I showed you showed what the end user does. They print with the print driver through the existing print procedure, and they update email addresses when they need to. And the last bullet is we are using your existing reports, the GP Report Writer report, Word templates, SSRS, Crystal, works with any report writer. Well, I appreciate the time. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take those now.
Yeah, so I think we have a couple of questions here, Tom.
Okay.
One is, well, and this is just something, if you have a couple of seconds, maybe you can talk about how you can use QR codes or payment links on those documents as well.
Right. Good question. Let me go back to that real quick here. So what happens here, I'm going to go back to what I had sent out to you because I actually have that in the actual document. So pull up the PDF here. Down at the bottom, what we did is we actually created a QR code, and this could be an image. I don't have the image in there, but either one of them, well, the QR code obviously could be scanned. You could take a picture of it and or click it. You can see I can click that QR code. And what that can do then is it could launch a URL, and we could take data from the report, like say the invoice number, the customer ID number, the dollar amount, and pass that off to the URL that you could then pay. It make it easier for your customer to be paying for that shipment or that invoice. So we could easily take that data and create the QR code, and then launch the URL with the data, passing that off.
That is a very cool function there that you guys have added over the last couple of years there.
Yep.
Another question that come in, and I think you've actually, I think, hit this a couple of times. So maybe this is something that, I think, customers really need to be hit over the head with. So maybe you could just mention it again is, in the past, and, even to this day, GP has some issues, quote unquote, issues emailing. Can you talk about how EDD can help with getting around that?
Right. So let me go back to that setup screen for emailing over here. So, and this is something we've been swamped for the past 9-10 months because of the issue related to modern authentication mainly, and older versions of GP not supporting that modern authentication. So Messenger is compatible with both. We are not using any of the emailing functionality in GP. All of the emailing is taking place from the Messenger server and is compatible with TLS 1.2 and modern authentication. And it works with any version of Dynamics GP. That's really one of the main issues that we've come across recently. Trying to think of anything else that stands out related to the emailing. Well, like I mentioned, using the standard GP report is another one. So Messenger does work with the Word templates, but most people move away from the Word templates when they use Messenger just because they're kind of hard to work with. But Messenger does not require the use of the Word templates like the emailing in GP does.
I think another benefit too is all the multiple email addresses and CCs and copies and everything else like that you can send out. That is a little bit trickier in GP to get all that stuff to go out to the right people.
Exactly. So here, like I showed you, and what we processed here is we were emailing 2 email addresses here, but we could be pulling email addresses from different locations. We could be, like I said down here, we could be emailing the salesperson or a controller under unique situations. Based on data, we're filtering when certain people receive certain documents based on the data that's processed. So yes, it pulls all that information and allows you to email multiple individuals by just printing once with the print driver.
That's great. All right, I am going to go ahead and take back the screen here just so we can finish up here. And actually, there's just one more question, and it is relating to pricing. So without getting into specifics on pricing and things like that, can you just talk about, is the pricing based upon the number of companies or the number of users, or a combination thereof?
Right. So there are 3 levels of pricing, and the correct pricing level is determined by the customer's GP user count. So if they have 1 to 10 licenses of GP, it's not based on who's using Messenger, but it's based on that GP user count. 1 to 10 licenses falls into the level 1 pricing. That gives them 10 print driver licenses. Every user / workstation that is sending a job to the Messenger server requires a print driver license. If they have 11 to 20 users of GP, it falls into the level 2 pricing, which gives them 20 print driver licenses. And then level 3 is if they have over 20 users of GP, it falls into the level 3 pricing.
Okay. And yeah, if you are interested in getting some more information about that pricing, please let us know, and we can work with you and Tom to get that pricing out to you, to make sure that you have the proper information there and everything like that. So with that, I'm going to say thank you to Tom, and thank you for a great presentation there. Hopefully everybody gets some benefit and sees how the product can really work for them. And again, any questions, please feel free to reach out to us here. I have our contact information here, and then we can certainly put you in touch with Tom and his team to answer any more specific questions or anything like that. So Tom, any last parting
No, I just
wisdom?
wanted to thanks for the opportunity here, and hopefully let us know if you need a more specific demo for your needs, if you have an interest in the product. Thanks, Michael, for setting up the demo.
All right, very good. Thank you.